Welcome back to the White One Auto YouTube channel, and what we have here today is a 2013 Chevrolet Express van. It has the V6 in it, and what it's in the shop for is for a no start, no crank. This is actually my favorite thing to do. Comment down below, what do most mechanics say when they can't fix a car that has a consistent problem? So I'll pause and give you a chance to comment down below. Okay, so what they told him was, hey, your PCM's bad. I need to put, well, no, I'm pretty sure they didn't say PCM. That's more technician language. They said, hey, the computer's bad, so we gotta put a computer in it, and then that's what we'll do. So you can see here, this is the old computer. Thank God this person saved the old computer. Another little bit of tip I wanna tell you. Whenever someone tells you that you need a component, especially something like any type of module or PCM wiring or something like that, you never get rid of the old component until you have confirmed the repair. I would advise you, if the core is $1,000, you just save that, you just pay that $1,000 and keep that old component, because you want to confirm that you fixed it first. So the PCM on this vehicle is down here. You can already see, like, there's a tab here that is broken off. It should have a tab like that. And also that cover is missing off of it right there. So where we're gonna start our diagnosis is, we're gonna put our factory PCM back in, and then we will work from that point on. So I was also told that they repaired some wiring under the dash. I looked under the dash previous and everything looked okay. So hopefully they have repaired that in a good manner. The fuse box cover was on here. I think it should be around here someplace. I probably put it inside the car. But okay, so this is our new PCM out, and this is our old one. They appear to both look the same. None of the pins here look damaged. Let me sneeze. Excuse me. So let's look at our part number here. 126. And the part numbers are different. So that is concerning to me. So what we're gonna do is put our original one back in. And another thing I wanted to show you, so we are missing this cover on this black connector. It should have a cover that looks like that. So we can get another one of those, but let's look. Excuse me, it's our gray connector where it's missing. So everything down here looks okay. So we'll just put our PCM in. Like I say, remember we still got that broken tab, but that shouldn't stop us from with our diagnosis. Not even that cover will stop us with our diagnosis. I was hoping that thing was down here, but it doesn't look like it. So we'll get our PCM installed and see what we get. Okay, so we got our old PCM back installed in the vehicle. I do believe our connectors are making a good connection. There's one thing I saw though, when I was looking around down here for that cover for the gray connector. I see how corroded that is. So I don't like that. And it looks like a lot of these fuses, see those fuses right there? Those two yellow ones? Those have been changed before, because you can see the different style. You see how the red and blue ones look? So the red and blue ones are factory GM fuses. We also got one that was changed over here. So for some reason, this thing has had to have fuses replaced. It's not really a huge deal, but it's just something else I'm looking at. So let's see now. So I'm wondering, do we not have enough battery voltage? Yeah, our horn sounds kind of weak. So I don't think we have enough battery voltage right now. Okay, so we got our battery in, and this one's actually older. This says 522. That one says 9 of 24. But let's see, does this thing respond any better? Oh, so our dashboard's lighting up, our horn beeps strong. So let me throw the charger on here so we don't run this one down. So our current date and time is June of 25, and that battery's from September of 24. So let's see, do we have a check engine light? Okay, so we have no check engine light. So we need to figure out why that is, why we have no check engine light. So does that mean we don't have power or ground running to the computer? Or what else is it? First, I'm gonna grab my scanner and see, can we read data? So let's do that. Okay, so the scanner won't automatically ID. We know it's a 2013. We know it's an Express. So I think it's just rear wheel drive. So we know pretty much this thing is not communicating. So let us go here to engine. See, can we read anything? It's not doing anything. So, since we know that we're not communicating with the engine, we first want to check powers and grounds. So I'm going to pull up a wiring diagram so we can see exactly where power and grounds come from. So we'll start at our fuse box, then work our way to our PCM just to make sure everything here is good. But actually, what I'm gonna do before that is I'm gonna check all these fuses. First, I'm gonna blow this fuse box out and then check them, and then see also will do they have power. But also, I'm gonna do one other thing too. So I wanna see if there is a starter relay, because we should be able to pull that out and jump the starter at the relay and check if everything else is good. So let's see. So there's a relay that says crank, number 39. That should be the starter relay. So 39, where is that? 39 is here. So let's see, is it in our fuse? Yep, it is there. So it is this relay right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab a relay tester and we'll put that in and see, will it crank over. Okay, so we got our tester. Let us put that in down there. So we will flip our switch and see, does it crank? So it does crank. So we know everything on the starter side from the fuse box on down is good. So we know we got a good starter. We know we at least have one good ground going to the engine because it wouldn't crank over. And the engine sounds okay. So that's good cranking for me. So we will pull this relay out. So now we pretty much know that yes, we do have an issue on our control side of this. Something isn't commanding the starter to kick on, and that's most likely going to be whatever is related to our PCM there, because we don't even have a check engine light. So let's pull up a wiring diagram. Okay, so remember I said we would check our fuses. Now, one thing we found right off is there's a fuse 19. It says ECM battery right there. So fuse 19 is right here. Now, so we got our test light, got a jumper wire hooked up to it. Uh-oh. And our power just popped off. So we'll put our power back on. So when we take our test light to power, it lights up. So remember, we're gonna go to fuse 19. let me. So that's one of those red 10 amp fuses down there. Let's get on here. So you see we got power on that side. Let us come over here. And we don't have power here, so you can see where we're at. And there's no power on our test light. So let's pull that thing out. So let's get down in here. We'll pull that fuse out. We'll take a look at it. It doesn't appear to be blown. Maybe it's... I think it's blown way down in there. But let's get another one and stick it in there and see what happens. So we'll grab one. I just heard something come alive here. And I don't like the way, let me do this with both hands because I don't like the way that fuse is sitting. Okay, so let's get this fuse installed. And I hope you heard that click there. So that was some stuff coming alive. Let's see, do we got a check engine light now? So we do have a check engine light. So we found one blown fuse. Let's see, can we read data? So let's back out of here. Wait, well, we could check for codes, see if there's any codes in here. It may not. So it says we still aren't communicating. So let's back out. See what happens if we turn the key. So we get nothing. Still have no communication. So maybe we got some more blown fuses. So let us continue to check our fuses. If I find something else, I will bring you all back in. Okay, so what I've decided to do, let's look at our PCM powers and grounds. So we're going to bring, remember, we got a 4-3 in there. And so you can see we got powers coming in right here. And these run down to over here. So we got a battery, an ignition voltage there, and a battery voltage. So we should have battery voltage there. And I believe that is it. On X1, that's all we got for powers right there. And our grounds, looks like, I think there's just one ground on X2. So there's some low reference voltages there. And then there's one ground at X2. Yeah, so we're going to check these. So that should be 73. We should have a ground. And then for powers, we should have powers on the opposite connector at, where are they at again? Right here. So they are at 19 and 20. So those are our two powers are on 19 and 20. And our ground is on 73. So let's pull that connector off and check. Okay, so first thing we're going to check is our ground. So we got a jumper wire hooked up to power. We have our test light in hooked to that. And our ground connector is going to be on our gray connector. And it's that larger one down there. So we should just be able to touch our test light in there. And then it should light up. I'm gonna need both hands to do this. So I'm just sitting it on there. I didn't jam it down in there. I just got it lightly sitting on there, and we do have a ground. So now we need to check for both powers coming into this module. Okay, so people, so we're on our X1 connector there, and we have power on both of our spots where we should have power. So that means we have power and ground going to this PCM. So it looks like we may have a bad PCM. So I want to double check just to make sure that those are the only two spots where we should have power and ground. And then what I'll do is I'll probably plug that other PCM back in and see can we communicate then, because we did find that blown fuse, so that was part of the problem, and we did have a bad battery. So we probably do have a bad PCM. So let us further investigate. Okay, so there's one other thing I want to check. So this is our starting system diagram. See, this is for starting. So we come down. So from our ignition switch, if everything, so where's our ignition switch? So it comes down right, you see that pink wire? Should run down there, goes to the body control module, and vent valve, transmission. So hold on, let me show you where I'm talking. I want to check, so we should have a starter enable signal coming here in on our PCM at spot 32 if everything else is correct on connector X1. So if we have that, then that would let us know our ignition switch and everything else is good. So let me, oh wait, am I wrong here? Let me take a look. Double checked all our powers and grounds, and we have those two powers and that one ground. So what we're gonna do is plug that other PCM back in and see if we can communicate. Let's do that. Okay, so we got our new PCM plugged in. Let's go over to our scanner and see if we can communicate now. Let's see, do we have a check engine light? So we got a flashing check engine light. Ah, okay. So I'm wondering, is this thing programmed? Let us communicate here with it. So this thing is showing data. Okay, we like this. Let's read for codes. Huh. Okay, so let us clear these. So we are getting communication now. So let us cycle our key. Cut our lights off. Let's read our codes again. So theft deterrent not programmed. So looks like that's our issue. So we got a theft deterrent, a lost communication with transmission control module. So we need to go ahead and do a theft learn on this, and then we maybe should be okay. So let me look at something. Oh wait, something I should have did before. Look. Ah, so we're getting someplace. So the vehicle is running. So the vehicle is actually running. So this will be crazy if the reason why this thing has been down for over a year is because of a blown fuse. I think the fuse fell on the ground. Yep. So this will be crazy. This will be, I mean, I don't understand this. So just because no one wanted to check a fuse? I mean, but you can see it's running. You can see it's running. Let me cut our battery charger off here. So this is crazy. So let me shut it off. I want to check the oil and coolant level because we haven't done that. Okay, so we have oil in it. So let's start it back up here. It's got a really long crank here. And let us start this thing. And our check engine light isn't flashing anymore, but we do have, it says lost communication with transmission control module. So I don't, so let me go in here, because I believe they only changed, hold on, wait, let me look, can I pull the VIN out of here? Yeah, let me see, can I pull the VIN out of this PCM? I gotta remember that. Okay, so there is a way we can check the VIN in here. We go to generic functions, then go vehicle identification number, key on, engine off. And so our VIN in this PCM is 4856. Let's see what our VIN on the truck is. It is 4856, so, huh. D111 4856. So this place did program the PCM correctly. So we'll exit out of there. Now I do know to do a crankshaft relearn, it's got to get up to temperature. But let me communicate with the transmission here and see, do we have any codes here? So now our transmission control module is not communicating. So that's why it's losing communication with the transmission control module, because it won't communicate. So let's now look for powers and grounds for the TCM and see where they are and see if they are good. So let's do that next. Okay, so we checked our powers and grounds. They are good here. Our ground is good here at our module, and so I'm pretty sure the powers are good too, but I don't think these transmission control modules have to be programmed. I think as long as it's like a 4060, they are good. So I believe I have one of these around, so I'm just gonna take it and swap it out and see, can I communicate? Okay, so I had a spare module, I plugged that in. Now let's see, can we communicate with this thing? So are we on? Let me exit out because I'm not sure we're on. Oh, we are on transmission. So let me just go to data. And we're still not getting any communication. Okay, so let me. So I am gonna do what I should have did. I'm gonna check my powers at the connector. I'm gonna bring up that wiring diagram because all I did was check the powers at the fuse, quick and dirty, because I know I've got a bunch of these laying around from LS swaps. So I'm gonna check that to make sure that is good. But this is actually for a 4L80. I just thought about it. It's not a 60. Because that truck had a 4L80 in it. So let me check powers and grounds here. Well, power, because we just checked our ground, and I'll bring you all in there. Okay, so we're on transmission, and we have 1, 2, 3 powers coming in. At least I think. Let's follow them down. So on 31 and 32, let's see where our other one. Okay, so that runs off to something else. So 31 and 32 are only 2 powers. And our ground, here's our large connector at 49. Yeah, so we need to check that. Okay, so we're gonna check our powers and grounds for our transmission on 31 and 32. So we're on 31, we have power. So we should be able to go one more over. Still have power on 32. So now we need to switch our test light to power, and we should be able to check for a ground. So we'll switch that to power there, and our ground, which is 49, is that larger terminal right there. So our powers and grounds are good. But there's one other thing I saw that I don't like. So we see our vehicle is running, but according to our scanner, we have no engine RPM. Even if we accelerate this thing, engine RPM is there, but it's missing. So that is not good. So I'm not sure if this thing is even programmed correctly. It's got the VIN in it, but I want to double check the programming, because we got power and ground in our transmission control module. If it isn't programmed correctly, that could be why it's not reading RPM and why it's not seeing that transmission control module. So we're going to double check that. Okay, so where we're at now in our van is the thing is running, but we don't have any communication with our transmission control module. The module could be bad, but I do know also that we don't have any RPM signal. And we also have a very extended crank. Listen. So that is too long of a crank. I don't believe it's fuel related. I do know that we're not getting RPM signal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the calibration inside of this PCM and see is it able to be updated, and then we'll see if we can update the TCM as well, see if that will take an update. So let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna do an update on this. You can see every calibration looks the same except for this engine diagnostic one. It's showing an unrecognized calibration. So I'm not sure if that's what's giving us our issue, but we will update it and then update the TCM, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's downloading from the server. We'll wait till it starts updating the vehicle and we'll get going. Okay, so we were able to get that update done. So we'll clear codes and then update our TCM, and we may have to update theft deterrent. Okay, so since our TCM would not program and we checked our powers and grounds, so I'm gonna take that used one I had laying around and we'll see if it will program. Okay, so our used one is failing to program. Our original one will not communicate or a program either. So it makes me think we have something going on with the communication going to our transmission control module. So we need to investigate that further. Okay, everyone. So on our Express, things get even more interesting. So remember how earlier I said that this thing had the wrong PCM in it, that where this aftermarket one, it wasn't the correct number? I was wrong about that. So this is the correct number, like our original part number is down there right there. So that's the part number. I double checked it, and that's correct. This isn't the part number. This is it down there. So this is the correct PCM. But remember, we weren't communicating with our transmission control module, and we did not have an RPM signal. And this thing had an extremely long crank. So I thought to myself, I said, well, hey, I never tried the original PCM to see if it would crank for that long. So I want to show you, that's the original PCM in here. And look at this. So it runs with the original PCM. This is it running. And that's our original PCM down there. The aftermarket one is up there. So this PCM most likely is programmed correctly. It just had that one cal in there that it didn't recognize for some reason. So we are not communicating with our transmission control module for some reason. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug our Pass-Through Pro 3. Well, you can't see it because it's upside down, but that's what we use, a Snap-on Pass-Through Pro 3 to program. So we're gonna hook our scanner back up because we got more diagnostic work to do to see why we have this extended crank and why we don't have an RPM signal. Okay, so our vehicle's loaded up. Let's check engine data and see if we have an RPM signal while we are running. So we're on data. So we have no RPM signal. It's not reading anything. It's reading mass airflow. Let's see, does it read anything else? So O2s are switching. Fuel trim is way out, -10, so it thinks it's running rich. It's reading battery voltage. See what codes it has in it. Now remember, this is while we're running, so it's got a coolant temperature code, a throttle position code, a throttle position, throttle position, throttle position. It's got a ton of codes in here. Lost communication with transmission control module. And so let me cut this thing off and see, can we clear them? So it's off. We'll turn our lights off. Let's see if we can clear them. And you know, it actually, I want to go and clear everything. So we'll let that run and check back. Okay, so it's cleared codes. Let's go check did any of them hard reset? So just no communication with transmission control module. So we'll turn off. We'll turn back on. So the only ones that reset so far that 335 and 336. So if you don't have an RPM signal, that is going to happen. So I want to look and see where the crank sensor is on here, because it shouldn't start without a crank sensor, but it is starting. So let me see where our crank sensor is, and we're gonna have to also start investigating that U101001 to see why we don't have communication with our transmission control module. So let's do those things. Okay, I really hope this shows up on camera well, because look at down here. This is our crank sensor. You see this big gap you get right there? Let me get something to stick in here. So, hold on, let me reposition. So, that's our, so that's our crank sensor. There's a huge gap right there to where somebody's been in here playing around, not knowing what they should do. There's a bolt in there. I mean, I'm so pissed off because it's just ridiculous that, come on. I mean, you can't do this. If you don't know what you're doing, you need to leave a car alone. Like, see that huge gap there? This thing is not sitting flush, so that's why we got a poor crank signal. I mean, this is... So I'm gonna need both hands to unplug this. Yeah, so I highly doubt if we have an electrical problem. We got an idiot was working on the van and didn't know what they were doing. Well, I'm pretty sure a man did this. And they put this new used crank sensor, a new aftermarket crank sensor in here when the OEM one was probably fine. So let me get this thing out. I mean, this thing probably just started out life with a blown fuse, and then the owner took it to Idiot Mechanics 101 because he wanted to save a few bucks. And hold on, I gotta put my glove. Yeah, like I was saying, the Idiot Mechanics 101 because he wanted to save a few bucks. And yeah, I mean, the sensor just wasn't even sitting in there all the way. I mean, come on, man. We could do better than this. This is just crazy, man. It's literally, let me clean this thing up. I mean, let me see, can I get you? Yeah, the reluctor ring looks okay. It just looks like the sensor wasn't seated all the way. I don't know if that's because this aftermarket one is made a little bit different, but it's probably just because the person working on it is an idiot and doesn't, I mean, it's just the person working on it is an idiot and doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, I hope you see the difference there. Where's my bolt at? I mean, this is my competition in this area, and people always want to complain about my price because idiot down the street will do a $3,000 job for $700 and tell me I'm too expensive. So we're gonna use this one for now. Well, we're gonna get another one because it's not sitting in there, but we will get another one. Yeah. Seems like, I don't like this crank sensor at all. At all. We'll get an connector doesn't want a seat on here either. We're gonna see if closing up this gap here will actually let us be able to read a crank sensor signal. So let me get this thing down. Okay, so these are our codes. Let's exit out of them. We will clear them, do a key cycle. So we'll clear them. Now let us do a key cycle. So we got our key off. We will turn it back on and see what our crank is like now. Whoa! That thing started up quick. So now we should have engine data. We'll probably have an RPM signal. Whoa, so we got an RPM signal now. So far we have found we had a bad fuse and a crank sensor that somebody changed and didn't install correctly. We are gonna swap out that crank sensor though, because I don't like that crank sensor. Now we probably still have that. So let me go out of here. Let's go to code menu. See, do we still have that? So we still aren't communicating with our transmission control module. So that's what we need to tackle next. I need to figure out exactly what is going on there, but we are making a lot of headway here. And I stand by, as I said before, anytime somebody's ever brought me a PCM and said, hey, my car doesn't start because I need a PCM, it has never been the PCM. It's never been. It's always been something else. So let me investigate this code right here, and we're gonna get this thing fixed. Hey, so I just want to start this thing up again. But I also want to make mention is that our theft deterrent codes are going as well, because we're using our factory PCM with our original key. So that's another benefit. We still don't have those theft deterrent codes like we did with that other used PCM. And I don't know what that undetermined calibration is. I just use the GM system to program modules here. That is all I do. So let's get this transmission control module communication code fixed. Okay, so since we don't have communication with our transmission control module, that thing is easy to get to. Let's check and see if everything else communicates. So we know our engine works, our transmission. Let's try ABS. I think we don't have the VSS. Let's see. Oh, so we don't have communication there. Let's make sure our key is on. Our key is on, and we do have an ABS light on. So first thing, like always, we're gonna check our powers and grounds. So let's see where our powers are. ABS. Okay, so there are two J case fuses right here, a 50 and a 40, spots 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 are up there. So that is these two up here. So let me, how do we want to do this? Here, let me pull these two out and we'll see what we get. So what happens, like what happened most of the time with J-case fuses, when you try to pull them out, the little cover pops off. But I noticed something. Let me get you all down up in here good. See, that fuse is blown. See that little break? And we'll see, so we got, So we got power on one side and no power on that side. So let me grab a 40 amp J-case fuse and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we got it out and you can see how that thing is fried. So let me go get one. Okay, so we got a replacement. Let's stick this thing in. Doesn't sound like it blew immediately. Let's see, can we communicate now? So we're still not communicating. Let me back up out of here. So we're still not communicating. Let me check that other fuse and see what happens. So we put that fuse in and I started to smell smoke when I went to pull our other J-case fuse out. Something's smoking down there. So what we're gonna have to do is raise this thing up and get a look at our TCM and see. We gotta have something shorted someplace. So let's figure this one out. So we found our smoke, people, and it is at our ABS module. So our ABS module is no good. You can see this thing is smoking away here. That's why that fuse blew. And I'm pretty sure this is what's taking down our communication. And somebody's been in here before because it should have an assurance tab on here that is missing. So let me unplug this thing and yeah. So look at how that thing looks on the inside. This connector here is just melted. Yep, so that will definitely pull down communication. So we're gonna need to fix that, but let's see, will our TCM communicate now? So it probably still won't because those wires are probably shorted together someplace down there. Let's back out of here. Clear all codes. Let's go into transmission. So we're still not communicating. So, but we are getting someplace. I wonder, this thing still start up? Yeah, so it still runs. So we know we didn't cause that problem. So we got a shorter. So we're gonna have to fix that first. Okay, so we're gonna have to get a connector and ABS control unit. So that's what we're gonna have to do. Okay, so we got a new crank sensor. This is the part number. And this is what it looks like here. So we're gonna pull this old one out and put our new one in. And then we gotta wait on an okay from the customer to fix all of that wiring and replace that ABS module. Got a new bolt there, so So we'll clean that surface up a little bit. Okay, so let's get our new sensor out. So this is our new, oh, it says Japan. What's up, GM? So they make this thing in Japan. Oh boy. So we're gonna put a little bit of lube on here. Slide her into place. That one. In there just a little bit better. But man, I was not expecting that thing to be from Japan. And I'm gonna finish running it down by hand. So, see we got no gap there. Connector looks good. We'll plug it in. It's seating on there good. Our wiring is okay. So we will let this thing down and test fire it back up. Okay, so let's fire it up. She fires up fine. So as far as where we're at right now, we are done. We're gonna fully take this thing off the hoist and wait for parts and an okay from the customer. The owner gave us the okay to fix this thing. So we're putting a used EBCM on because nobody has the module. So we're gonna have to get that. And the original one was too burned out to send it in to get remanned. And so we're also gonna do a transmission control module, wire in a new connector at the EBCM, fix that wiring, and then program both of those to this vehicle. And then this thing will finally have a shifting transmission. I want to raise it up because I want to go over the backstory a little bit. So let's see here. See, can we see? So you can see, although it's got a lot of oil leaks, this thing has a reman Jasper transmission in it. And unfortunately, that's how this whole thing started. Not for us, but because they thought that the transmission was the issue why it wasn't shifting. And the whole time, it was right here. So we gotta wire in this new connector. We gotta replace this out because you can get a look, see how burned that is in there. So we're swapping this out, wiring in a new connector here, and then we will program both of those and get this thing to where it can shift. But yeah, it's just crazy that this had to happen like this. Okay, so I wanted to give you a closer, a better look. So this is our old module. You can see how that's burnt. And you can see how it looks in there. So this is our used one that we got. So you can see how that isn't burnt. And you can see how it looks there. Man, I think this thing is burnt beyond repair. That's why we had to get a used one, because no new ones are available. This is a discontinued part, and I didn't think that they would be able to repair this one and to pay shipping and ship it back and forth, and well, just ship it there because they couldn't repair it. I wouldn't want it back. So we are able to get a new pump, and that should be here in a few days. Hopefully it'll show up tomorrow so we can get that new pump. But you can see just how bad this was. And trust me, it smells as bad as it looks. And let me show you that wiring again. So that's how burnt that is. So we got a new connector there, and we're gonna wire it in. And then we can get this thing all wrapped up here after we bleed it. Okay, so we should have some goodies. It should be our ABS pump. This has come in. This thing is supposedly brand new old stock. They don't make it anymore either.
Looks brand new. It doesn't look like anyone's ever used this thing before. So this is our new one. This one was our original one. And new, original, and this is our used one that we had to buy to get the module off of. So this module, they don't make this new either. It's a discontinued part too, and we weren't able to find one. So we had to buy a used complete assembly to get that. And then we were able to get this new old stock. So let's get this together. So we got this all mounted down, 27 inch-pounds for these and a cross pattern. Bolted our bracket on. So now let's go install it on the car.
Okay, so we got our new unit mounted up here. Brake lines is tight, so now we got to bleed this thing. I'm not going to record the bleeding because I'm just not doing that. But I will say this thing, the brake system ran completely dry. So you can get a good pedal without doing the ABS bleed, but you should do that. But what I would recommend is after you fill this thing up with fluid, you should crack your lines at your master and then close them to get some of that air out. And trust me, I only know this because I experienced it. So that's a recommendation. So now our next thing is we have to go on to repairing this connector here. So I have a replacement for this, and we're just gonna go wire by wire. I will take some of these apart because I don't wanna rebraid like these. Hopefully all these twisted pairs, so it should be 4 of them because these feed to the ABS unit, so it should be 4 because each one, the whole connector feeds to the ABS unit. Excuse me, but what I'm saying is I believe each one of these twisted pair is a wheel speed sensor. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and some data lines. So if I could just remove these out of the pin, I will do that. So that'll save me. It's a lot easier to not have to twist them up. So we're gonna cut this zip tie. We'll cut this zip tie, then get this cover off and start getting a look, and I will go grab my other one, my new replacement. Okay, so this is the replacement that I ordered. And if you notice, it doesn't have as many wires in here as the original one. It's missing those twisted pairs. So like I said, I'm pretty sure those are for wheel speed sensors and data lines. I think like the color ones are wheel speed sensors. So like that green and tan, that brown and white, that orange and blue, that orange and tan, that yellow and blue, all of those I'm pretty sure are wheel speed sensors. And I'm pretty sure this tan with black are data lines. So I also was able to get this off of a van at the junkyard, and see it doesn't have those twisted wires. It's cut back here. It's got a lot less. So this probably, the truck it came off of probably had a different type of ABS unit. And this thing's, we're definitely gonna have to get our wiring diagram out. Like I say, hopefully it's really burnt in there. And those are the power wires, like power. Yeah, so that's your main power. See that? See that large red one? Spot by spot, and keep double checking your wiring diagram and make sure everything is 100% correct. You cannot make an error on this. If you make an error, you will have big problems. For our larger power wires here, we double heat shrink insulated that, and I think it looks pretty good. So we're gonna wrap it with some tape, put our cover on, and then we can plug this thing in, and we shouldn't have any blown fuses, and we should be able to now communicate with the TCM because that data was disrupted. And we also got to put our cover back on here and clean this stuff up. Okay, so we got our connector back routed up there correctly, and surprisingly or not, between the pump, the module, and this connector, this is over $1,600 in parts, which is crazy. So now we gotta bleed the system. We're gonna clean our mess up on our hoist. So we bleed the system, then we should be able to communicate with the TCM, program the ECM, and it's already starting, but we should be able to wrap this thing up now. So we got our two fuses back in, that 50 and 40 amp down there. See those? So they have not blown, and we don't see any smoke. So that's good. So we should be able to now to communicate with our transmission control module. Let us come in and let this thing load up. Okay, so we got our vehicle here loaded. Let's go transmission. So now we have communication. So let's go in and let us look at data. So we have data now, so that is great. So let us back out, and we want to clear codes. The only codes we should have is just for the EBCM, the electronic brake controller, and that's because we haven't programmed it yet. So let's do that. So, okay, let's go back into engine codes. No codes. Perfecto. So we just got to program the EBCM, and we are looking good there. Oh wait, you probably want to see what that's reading before. So we'll go to ABS module. And we'll come in. No codes there. Couldn't even communicate with this thing before, boy. So now we can communicate with it. And, whoa, our ABS light is out. I just noticed that. So our ABS light is out too. I still want to program this thing. I don't want to leave it unprogrammed because we can, but man, this is great. It appears like everything is okay. So, man, look, I shouldn't sound surprised because I knew what was wrong, but I am very happy. Hallelujah. I love it when a plan comes together. So, our next step